Hello and welcome to Blind Chess, where you watch the blind guy try to raise his chess rating back up into the 1900s and hopefully beyond. Right now, we're going to listen to some Trackstar and play some chess. So these are the two people who...
1098765431.
Okay, before we start with the music, can you guys just reintroduce yourselves?
This is going to be good.
George,
I like music,
writer, comedian.
but let's play some chess.
Hey y'all, it's Sue Monar, and I'm a
Excuse me.
instructor in New York City.
Two of the best performing Trackstar contestants of all time. You have unbelievable, unparalleled music knowledge, both of you. So I want to kind of dig into that.
All right, here we
The
go.
framing that we came up with is
E4
Gen X
is best.
music
Pawn
generation?
E4.
And the answer, of course,
Pawn
is
E5.
yes,
Yes.
without a doubt.
Knight
Well,
F3.
first of all, what is Gen X?
Bishop C5.
Well, there's arguments as to
Bishop
what the exact
C4.
parameters of Gen
Pawn
X are.
D6.
Some people say it has
Pawn
to be like
C3.
64 to 1980.
Knight
I think it's
F6.
very elastic. My sense
Pawn
is
D3.
early 60s into
Pawn
the late
H6.
70s. Those influences, cultural influences and stuff like that, that's Gen X, at least to me.
Some people
Castles
say that
kingside.
the music of Gen X is only artists
G4.
that are in Gen X.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I agree with that. Some of the boomer artists
Knight BD2.
we were still listening to
Knight
all through the Gen
C6.
X period, right?
Rook
like the
E1.
Stones and
Yeah.
the Who and Bruce and U2 and all
Queen
all those
D7.
bands were still
Bishop
going
B3.
strong in the 80s and 90s. And some of them still today, you know.
Castles
so are
queenside.
they not Gen X artists?
All right,
What
these guys
I
are in
noticed is
trouble.
that because we sort of came of age in the 70s, that's when the music started to fracture a little bit. We went from just, the classic rock stuff of the 60s and into the early 70s, but that's when reggae started
Bishop
to
C2.
break out. Hip hop a little bit later on. Synth pop and,
Rook D F8.
and new wave and punk and so forth. So I think one of the reasons why
Pawn B4.
we were able to identify
Bishop B6.
different types of music and obscure stuff
Pawn
and so
A4.
forth is we ended up just
Pawn
being
A5.
exposed to it. Some of it creeped into
Pawn
the
B5.
top 40 and so
Knight
forth,
D8.
but others you
Okay.
started to see like college radio, modern rock radio and things like that, and we just ended up absorbing a whole lot of different trends.
The whole word radio. Like that was the thing back then. It's not so much anymore. Radio back then played all genres. You listen to the
Let's
radio,
try this.
you were gonna
Knight
get it all.
C4.
Biggest influence on me in terms of music,
Casey Kasem.
Casey Kasem.
I knew it. Yes. Yes.
When I told my sister that I did the Trackstar and I sent her the clip, and she said, "Of course. I mean, every Sunday you're listening to Casey Kasem, writing all the songs of the top 40 down, and Mom is saying, leave your brother alone. Just let him just do his
So
thing."
who's Casey Kasem?
Wait.
Pawn G5.
Are you really?
Pawn G5,
really
huh?
asking that?
Some people may know Casey Kasem as the voice of Shaggy on Scooby-Doo. Yes,
Knight
absolutely.
captures
He was an
B6
incredible
check.
voiceover.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
voiceover artist. But Casey
Pawn
Kasem
captures
is known
B6.
to, I think, a couple of
Bishop
generations
E3.
as the host of American Top 40, which started, and I believe, in 1970. And he would count down the top 40 songs in the country.
Bishop
We're getting closer
H5.
and closer to number one.
Okay,
Counting
this
down.
guy's not
Radio
doing that
in
great.
that day and
Can't I
Casey
take
Kasem's
that?
Top 40
Bishop captures
was all
B6.
genres. So you would hear
Three
you'd be
pawns.
Pawn
exposed to
G4.
everything. Everything was all
Pawn
on
G4.
one station, and we all listened to all the music. I feel like today everything is
All
so
right.
categorized and so separated, and everybody gets fed the algorithm, and it just makes a difference. You don't get exposed to as much music as we did.
You could listen to everything. Now, by the time
Huh.
you got to the top 10, it became clearly the most popular. But a lot of those things that were from 40 to 30 or 30 to 20, they would become things that we would now sometimes identify as new wave or disco or funk.
Diversity in that later part of the top 40 playlist.
Exactly, and Casey always had an anecdote to go with the song, and his closing out phrase, which the generation grew up
Knight
with,
D2.
was "Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars."
Well, that wraps up our show for this week. Now join me again next week for
On
exciting
G3.
performances by Murray Head, Wham, and part 2 of our interview with Alabama. Till then, Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
So tell me about how you guys grew up and how radio played a part of your
Okay.
childhood. Like, was it on in the kitchen in the morning when you're having breakfast? Was it when you were in the car rides? Like, when were you exposed to this?
It was primarily in the car, AM radio.
On F3.
And
On
listening
captures
to it, and,
H2 check.
I mean, I can still remember in, I don't know, 75 or 76
King
or something like
captures
that.
H2.
A Bee Gees song is coming on, and this is before Saturday Night Fever. The DJ says, "Oh wow, a new sound from the Bee
Rook
Gees," because
HGA.
before they had more ballads and slower stuff,
Night
and it was
C4.
jive talking.
You remember hearing jive talking for the first time in the car?
I remember.
I did too. Do you know where you got that riff?
Where?
They were recording, and they had
Yeah.
a truck or a van,
No.
and there was a bridge they would cross over on the way to record, and it sounded like that, and
Night
that's where they
G4
got the
check.
riff for jive talking.
This is why these guys are here right now.
And that,
I did not
but
know that one. That's great.
Well, I learned that on Casey Kasem. He would play the song and tell the story like that. So, but we listened to the radio in the car, at home. You'd
King
sit in your
G1.
room and listen to the radio, and you'd have your cassette recorder ready. One of the biggest joys
Queen E7.
was the delay
Queen
gratification,
E7, so
having
he's
to
coming
wait
on
to hear
in.
the song you wanted to hear. And trying to
That's a
click,
tough
record
one.
and play at the same time to get, and the DJ not talking on it. We just live for that. We live for that shit. Along with radio, though, we also had MTV.
Huh.
That was just as important and just as influential, I think, on our generation.
I asked you guys to send me some definitive songs for this time period, and there were 5 artists that overlapped in
Oh,
both
really?
of your in
Okay.
both of your
Oh,
emails. So I
man.
want to start with those 5 artists. Before I start playing the music, I just want to set the stage a little bit. We're in the studio. Right behind us is the other half of the office that's fully under construction. So just bear with us if there's some loud noises that you hear. Just everything's okay.
It could be the beginning of a song when you just hit
Yeah.
industrial. Let's go industrial.
Oh, goody, we get to listen.
Here we go again.
This is such a good
We're in
feeling
the
to
tough
have this mic
spot
in
here,
hand and
but-
have these on my head. Blondie.
Tell me about Blondie.
All right.
Blondie
Well,
is
we could go
important
there.
because
Do.
they were an essential part of the New York burgeoning punk / new wave sound. Got their break in CBGBs along with the Ramones and Talking Heads, which we'll probably talk about a little bit later as well.
Oh man.
But they were
All
the
right.
ones,
Let's go
of that
here.
that
Maybe I
really
ran
broke
away too
through
soon.
into the mainstream,
Mainstream popular
into the mainstream.
I should just
pop band.
The song, obviously, that
hung out
really put them
with my
on,
night.
on the map was.
I could be in
was
trouble
Hard
here.
Glass.
I didn't.
Queen
Yeah. Well,
Night
take that
captures
guy
G4.
away.
They sort of do this interesting
Bishop
transition
captures
of
G4.
punk and disco and pop, and this becomes this a fantastic hit. But then they come in with "Call Me," which is this harder disco beat. Then they've got "Rapture," which is the first real emergence of hip hop into the mainstream. That goes to #1. Then "The Tide Is High," heavily influenced by reggae.
Bishop F2.
That goes to #1. Interesting thing about Blondie: only 4 of their hits made the top 10, but all 4 of them went
Queen
to #1.
H5.
They influenced so many other bands that wanted to go into maybe a more reggae sound, a more disco pop sound, and so forth. So you can't really write the story of
Pawn captures
music
G4.
in the
Rook
80s
captures
in
G4.
terms of modern rock and things like that without
This
without
is
Blondie.
danger.
You mentioned earlier the fractured state of music, the diversity, it went in all these different directions. And I think what's interesting about Blondie in this category is they cover a lot of those different bases.
If there's a Mount Rushmore of post-boomer new wave, Deborah Harry, Patti Smith, Joan Jett, and
Chrissy
Chrissy Hynde. Chrissy Hynde. Exactly. There you go. There you go.
Although I feel like they're all boomer artists too, though.
This is what we're talking about in terms of the music that we grew up, influenced us,
Rookie
influenced
3.
our generation.
I mean, I think the boomers and Gen X, those 2 generations, I think there's a debate to be had about who had the best music, honestly. I mean, it exploded in the 80s and 90s, a lot of the fractures and the genres and that was a good thing. But look at the 60s and the 70s, my God. You can pick up 1 year out of the 70s and
Rook
look at all the
FGA.
songs that came from it, and you're like, what the hell was in the water back then?
Well,
So
I
when
think
I say-
I think we know what was in the water. I mean, it started at
They had
Woodstock,
better
and there you
drugs
go. There
back
you
then
go.
because what's
Rook
going on
G3.
today? Okay.
So this next artist, I believe, was right at the top for both of you.
So
I think we're gonna make it by the hair of our chinny chin chins.
Is an illustration
Maybe.
of the album days versus the single days that we're in now.
Yeah.
You know, when Purple Rain came out, it just everyone was
96.
obsessed with the entire album. You wouldn't listen to just a single off the album. You would drop the needle on the record and listen to the whole thing. And I think that Purple Rain was like one of the most defining albums of our generation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Thriller was the one that broke all the sales records and influential because of the videos. But yeah, Purple Rain was
There-
a force itself.
There was something about when an album came out back then. It was an artist telling a story, and the
This is
tracks
tough.
were listed in a
I
certain
got
way
problems.
for a
Okay,
reason.
let's
And there was
go
maybe
here.
An emotional
Rook
arc
captures
where
G4.
They had a reason that they built
go
the
there.
album the way they did, and maybe there are artists today still doing that.
When Prince came out
Knight
with
F4.
Around
Let's
the
go
World in a
here.
Day, which
Pawn
was his quick
G3.
follow-up right after Purple Rain, I had a record release party in my dorm and invited everybody over at
That's awesome.
10 o'clock at night just to go through the whole thing. That song, by the way, we heard right before was Free, which is a deep cut off of 1999, which people are obviously familiar with. Title track and DMSR and Let's Pretend We're Married
Knight
and
E2
Little
check.
Red Corvette and so forth. But Free is just it's a real
that's a tough one.
introspective and just
It made me want to cry, actually.
yeah.
King
Prince is
F1.
weird, right? He's pushing the envelope a little bit of weirdness. He's not right down the line. Whereas Michael Jackson is of the school of sort
Night
of traditional
captures
pop star.
C3.
The music itself, right, is much more sort of user-friendly.
Prince's arguably breakthrough creative album was Dirty Mind.
Bishop D1.
The title track is a banger. Uptown is amazing. And you've got a couple of songs which are, frankly, obscene, referencing oral sex and incest. And so, so talking about pushing the envelope and saying that Prince is weird is completely legit because he was always torn between physical, sexual urges and talking about Christianity and higher power and so forth. And that tension is all through his music, particularly in the 80s.
Those are two artists that you both mentioned. Here's a third one you definitely brought up
Night
and you
captures
sort of mentioned
D1.
a little bit more tangentially.
Rook captures D1.
This way. This way.
Well, you could say Run DMC or Aerosmith.
All right, I think we weathered the storm. Now we got to get to the checkmate. Get our checkmate on.
King D7.
King
Pretty
D7.
unique song.
Gosh.
Now
Okay.
it's-
Here, let's just go here.
Some songs and some
Queen
periods
F5
of my
check.
life, I'm kind of like brain fog about, like probably
King
drinking,
C7.
partying too much to actually
Queen
remember.
captures
All I know is
H5.
Walk This Way was huge.
Cool, game over.
before they ever did it with Run DMC. Huge rock song.
This is where the
Boomer and the Gen X.
the generations kind of come together. Walk This Way, a big hit for Aerosmith in 73, 74,
Knight F3.
something like
Okay,
that.
this is all
Now,
well and good.
C4.
Hip hop had
Knight
been
F6.
growing
H6.
Pawn
since
Not a great
the late
move.
70s.
Pawn
we heard
H6.
White
There's
no
Line,
reason
and we'd heard the
Castle
message
to play that.
things like that.
Rapper's Delight.
Bishop
Rappers
G4.
Delight. Run
Knight
DMC
B2.
It's all fair
then
enough.
comes
Now
in
here,
C6.
and
A4,
infuses
B4,
Rook
yeah.
with rock
Queen
guitars
Not so
and
good.
so forth. They
Bishop
then
B3.
Not
dropped
necessary. I
their
forgot.
remake,
Queen D7.
reboot
It's
of
okay.
Walk This Way, and it just
But it kinda,
explodes
you know.
through into the mainstream. It's a top 10
Bishop
song,
B3.
and it does two things.
Bishop
It puts
C2.
hip hop
Wasted it.
into
Rook
the top
D8.
40, into the top 10. It's really
B4,
accurately here.
boom.
It's
Bishop
A4.
just some dismissive
Yep.
thing
Pawn
on the
A4.
side, and at the same
Pawn
time,
A5.
Aerosmith, who had
Knight
fallen
C4.
on tough times themselves and had
So
basically
that's not
broken
going to
up
be great.
for a little bit.
Oh,
They're
that's
suddenly back in the
terrible move.
mainstream
Terrible,
and,
terrible. Okay,
getting a
so
lease on life.
Knight C4 is good right off the
what,
bat.
What did break that song for me was MTV.
I was gonna ask you about MTV.
video.
Massive
Look at this.
MTV
captures
song.
I think you
B4.
mentioned this kind of before. The latter part of our generation.
And
music
then you're
became
supposed to go like
visual.
that.
On A5.
It was MTV.
Bishop
and in fact,
C5.
I've got to say this too. Before MTV, we also had these
Bishop A4.
Interesting.
late-night and
Interdasting.
music shows. Don
All right,
Kirshner's
so
concert,
I played myself
Night
into a
Special.
crap
So
situation
On
again.
A5.
the bands
On A4.
playing
See, this
live
seems like it would
on
be
chance
all
to
right.
actually
I guess.
see
Well,
songs.
where
That
what was
what
better for
the
him?
early
On
part
B5.
of
Knight
the
E7
visual,
was strong.
media
Everything
music
else is
coming in.
bogus.
MTV also had some cool shows.
Which makes sense because
120
his
minutes
night ended up
was
not
one of my
doing
favorite
Knight
nothing.
shows.
C4.
What was 120 minutes?
Pawn
They would
G5.
introduce new artists.
D4,
wouldn't they?
huh.
Alternative.
Knight captures
Alternative
B6 check.
or modern rock,
Pawn
new
captures
wave,
B6.
post-punk groups like New Order
Bishop
and
E3.
early Red Hot Chili Peppers and
The Wonder
and
Stuff.
The Wonder Stuff. Roses. I'm just trying to think of
I
the
just
other-
remember hearing Enough's Enough on
So that was
120
kinda
minutes.
weak.
They were this like hair band.
What's better here?
Pawn captures
D4.
B6.
So let's see where I get into all kinds of trouble here. I'm
And
fine.
I don't
Bishop
know why their
captures
song was on
B6.
120
Now,
minutes, but
'cause
you
he
would
missed
find
that.
really
This-
cool music on that show.
You both
Knight
talked about the
H4.
importance of radio and then MTV,
Yeah.
but it's important for people who aren't aware.
Of
the
course.
history
I mean,
of
I
MTV,
was
like
looking
people
at
my
that. I
generation,
don't know why I
TRL
didn't think that was any
and
good.
and the
Yeah.
Osbournes
But
and
this gets me in
reality
all
shows.
kinds of trouble
That
here.
era of MTV was
Kinda.
essentially
On F3.
radio. It was radio with videos attached.
That's
to it. When you
good,
talk
though.
about a show
Captures
120
H2
minutes,
check.
that's a radio show.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that too.
Right? There's a
Sometimes
host saying,
a good
"Next,
way
we're
to
gonna
deal
hear
with
this new song."
situations
Yes.
And they'll set the stage,
is
but they're
just to
playing music.
leave
Exactly.
So it's not
their
all that
guy,
different.
since they can't
It's like
capture
an
their own
easy
guy,
transition.
this is like the
Was
best
visual
shield ever.
radio, period.
Unless it
That was
goes.
it.
That's how they pitched it.
It
when
can
they
double
first-
cross you,
when they
but-
first
And
started
we
too,
all
and people
watched
didn't get it.
Pawn
it.
captures
And of course,
H2
so
check.
there was
But this
this
is all right.
interesting
Captures
tension
H2.
early on with
Rook
with
HG8.
MTV about what kind of a
Knight
station they
C4.
were, because initially they said we're a rock station, so
Rook
we're not going to
HG8.
play artists that lean more.
What's good here?
R&B,
Bishop
which
B3.
created early arguments saying, well, is
Yeah.
MTV racist then because they don't want to play they don't want to play
I
black
don't know.
music, they don't want to play
It's a good
R&B
enough.
stuff
Knight
and so
C4.
forth. And
Knight
And
G4
it
the story
takes here,
goes
and F takes G4 is
that
good, but what about
basically
this?
CBS Records, Columbia,
kinda all right.
which
Knight
is
G4
what
check.
Michael Jackson was,
So that's
was signed
good?
on to. They said, well, you play Michael
can that be
Jackson,
good?
or we just yank all of our videos off
Pawn
of your,
captures
off of
G4.
MTV, and they started
Rook
playing
captures
Michael Jackson,
G4.
which to us now, 40 something years later,
Bishop
wait,
F2.
MTV
What about
resisted
Rook takes
playing Michael
G2?
Jackson? How insane is that? But
Bishop
that's what
F2.
ended up happening. And then
What
of
about
course,
this?
if you just like
Rook
a year or
captures
two later,
G2 check.
It's Michael Jackson's Thriller, a short film by John Landis
captures
that'll
G2.
scare you out of your tree. See
Bishop
it here
captures
only
D1.
on MTV.
he drops Thriller and.
Oh, because I got this
Knight
right
E6
there.
Remember the
check.
very first video you ever saw on MTV?
Nice.
King
of
captures
course.
G2.
What was the first one you
Bishop
ever saw?
F2.
Insane.
Maybe
That's a
I
lot
was
to see in a
before the
speed
radio
game.
started. I'm talking
Knight
about you
C4.
The very
personally.
first one I
Rook
ever saw.
All right.
G8.
What about
That's a
you?
tough one.
Knight
Black Coffee
C4.
in Bed by Squeeze.
Oh,
Queen
wow.
I end up
E7.
wiggling my way out of
Queen
it.
H4. Knight captures G4. Bishop captures G4. Bishop F2.
Random song, right?
Queen
I don't know why. I
H5.
was in college in South Carolina.
Pawn
I was at my
captures
friend's house
G4.
in her basement. And they had a
Rook
TV
captures
on. We were like, what is
G4.
this?
Fair
And
enough.
we were
All
watching-
this
it was
is
a
good
music video.
because
We'd never
obviously
seen a
it's
music
pinned to
video
his
before.
queen.
And
Rook
it wasn't
G3.
just the band playing the
Knight
song. It was
E6.
actually, like a
Good
little
enough.
show.
Captures G4.
And we're
Queen
like, what the hell
F3.
is this? And I don't know
Knight
why.
F4.
40, 50 years
Pawn
later, I
G3.
remember it was
Ouch.
Black Coffee in Bed by Squeeze. It wasn't even one of their
Knight
big
F4.
hits.
So what do you do
But
instead?
that was
Bishop
it. And we were
D1.
like,
Bishop
Just
D1.
Cool.
to the point we were
Bishop
making
D1.
before, though, about
You just
know,
give it up.
is a Gen X
Bishop
band?
D1.
Does it have to be part of Gen X, or is it just influencing Gen X?
Rook captures
Run DMC was
G2
kind of both,
check.
because they're both born, I believe, in 1964. So
Right.
right,
G2.
right at the beginning
There's a lot
of the Gen X.
good
My
artists that were
goodness.
born in
Bishop
1964.
All right, cool.
Do you know why I know
Well,
that?
here.
Why do you know that?
Because I
Now
was born in
here,
1964.
Rook takes G3 check,
Eddie
Queen
Vedder,
takes
born
Knight
in
E2
1964. Thank you
check.
very much. And I
Ouch.
do remember at my parents' house one year for Christmas,
But what about
they had a TV on, And I walked
Rook
by
captures
and
G4.
I
What about
saw
that?
Axl Rose for
And
Bishop
that's-
captures G3.
Why is
Oh
that
my
death?
God.
Queen
I
takes
stopped dead in
F3
my
because I'm
tracks,
hanging,
and I was
bro.
Like, what? Who is this? And it was
Pawn
just
Okay.
the band
I can
playing,
see.
you know,
Queen
him
F3.
doing his little
Rook captures
sachet
G4.
and
Dang, this is hard
all
to
the
do
hair
when you
was
can't see.
wild.
All right, let's try another game.
FG8.
We have fun in games. Welcome to the chess jungle. All right,
I was
let's do another one.
mesmerized, And I was like, these dudes are gonna be hot.
You know, Guns N' Roses doesn't. Most people look at Nirvana and Smells Like Teen Spirit broke through in.
Excuse me.
The moment that
What is this,
the hair
D4?
metal bands were,
Knight
pushed
F6.
aside. Guns N' Roses doesn't
Pawn
really get
E3.
enough credit for being actually the real precursor to that.
Pawn
Because
G6.
when Appetite for Destruction
Pawn
dropped
C4.
in '87, I believe, or might have been '88, suddenly people realized
Pawn
this isn't
D5.
Poison. This isn't this isn't Poison. This is
Knight
not Motley
C3.
Crue. Or so this is something really
not an
different,
Aquanet
Bishop
band.
really,
G7.
really vital.
Yes.
Okay. The next artist is another artist that
Knight
you both
F3.
mentioned, and someone who today has found success in a different
Castles
area of music.
Kingside.
Another weird artist that's hard to pin down.
I know who you're talking about.
It's interesting that you both put this on
Bishop
your list.
D2.
So I'll play the song, and then you can tell me why this was an important song, and this is an important artist for you.
I'm gonna
guys.
play it
Pawn C6.
kind of safe here, solid. Bishop
D3.
D3.
Knight BD7.
Oh God.
Pawn captures
9 Inch
D5.
Nails, Pretty Hate Machine, Head Like a Hole.
That came out
Castles
in
Kingside.
1989.
Rook E8.
Nothing sounded like this.
Nothing sounded like it. Well,
Nothing still really sounds like this.
nothing sounded like it, though there were precursors.
Queen B3.
Queen
to
B3,
it.
huh?
Gary Newman with Cars.
Well, that's kind of screws up my
the
plan here.
Electric Two-Way Army in 79, 80 was going in that direction. There's this kind of obscure.
All right, let's
band,
just,
British band,
shift
Skinny
gears
Puppy,
then.
Which was like it had this real.
This is gonna suck.
Heavy industrial sound. They popped up in like in the mid 80s, but yeah, Reznor just puts it all together. I mean, he had a touring band, but he was doing most
Knight
of the music
B6.
himself.
And using a computer.
Using the computer.
Using a computer? Really? Back then? Did we even have computers back then?
Rook
I'm not
AC1.
even joking. I mean, like synthesizer.
Synthesizers, which are basically it
Computers.
is basically computers. Yeah, I mean it's
Okay.
irritating. But yeah, 9 Inch Nails, incredibly influential. This wall of sound, Pretty Hate Machine, and later on in the mid 90s, the Downward Spiral. I mean these two incredibly
Bishop D7.
amazing sonically.
It was new. It was hot. It was melodic.
Knight E5.
The lyrics were great.
It was hard. It was hard, and it was angry.
It was
as well.
This is just
Industrial.
getting
If the
ugly.
baby
I'm not
boomers
liking
have
this at all.
Reputation of being, the kind of the summer of love generation. Gen X ended up having, we ended up having to go through a couple of, oil crises and Watergate. It was kind of a rougher.
This is
kind
not
of
good.
of a growing up
Disillusionment.
of disillusionment. Yeah, the boomers, had post World War II, the 1950s, and things started to fall apart a little bit at the end of the 60s.
This is
but it
not
was in the
good at
70s,
all.
you suddenly realized
Tactically,
the
I'm
American dream
looking
wasn't
pretty grim
quite
right here.
The way it was supposed to kind of come together, and goodness knows, we're still seeing ripples of that today.
Well, on a more superficial note, I had Pretty Hate Machine on cassette tape, and I would put it in my little Sony Walkman, and I would lay out by the pool, and I would listen to it.
We
And
have to
people
try
would be
something
like,
crazy here.
What are you listening to? Because I was just going off so hard by myself
This is
with
not
my
good.
little earbuds in. And I think I wore that
Knight
cassette out.
captures
Like, it
E4.
was hard to wear a cassette out, but if you listen to enough, you'd eventually wear it out. And I think that was one of the cassettes that I actually wore out.
And Head Like a Hole was in regular rotation back when I was, DJing in the 80s as well, particularly close to the end of the night, kind of a banger,
Yeah.
right before Rage Against the Machine, and
Pawn
and another
captures
group that we'll
E4.
also mention
Yeah.
a little bit more
Yeah.
too.
The last artist that you both mentioned.
Bishop
And
captures
we've kind of
E4.
been working chronologically
Bishop
here.
captures E5. Pawn captures E5.
And now, I told you I was more of a Pearl Jam girl than Nirvana back in the day. Everybody had their thing, Soundgarden or Pearl Jam or Nirvana.
But Nirvana was by
Bishop
far the most
A4.
popular.
They're the most defining, I think, of the grunge era.
They're the ones that kind of took this thing and took it to the top.
Not too dissimilar from what we were talking about before with Run DMC. As soon as Smells Like Teen Spirit comes through, and you realize, oh, this is something different. You know, and right after
23.
we get Pearl Jam, we get Soundgarden, Temple of the Dog,
Alice in Chains.
Alice in Chains. For a handful of years, Seattle is kind of ruling.
Queen captures
ruling the
D3.
roost, but also
Bishop captures
opening
D3.
up for the second generation of punk stuff, such as Green Day and
Blink 182.
Blink 182, Rancid, The Offspring, and so forth.
I mean, I'm realizing Smells Like Teen Spirit, it was that song that made Nirvana what they were.
Yeah.
The fact that they had so many other songs to back it up.
In the
Rookie
music
D8.
video.
That song was a song of the decade.
Cobain
Rook
was born
C3.
in '67, a solid member of Generation X, something of a poet and symbol of the generation, but gone way too soon.
Yeah.
We talked about Prince and Michael Jackson, but they were in their 50s and they had like a lifetime of work behind them. Cobain. Like
Amy Winehouse.
like
Bishop
Amy
C6.
Winehouse, they were like comets. They were there and then they burned.
Yeah,
they
I think
burned out.
that's his career and his life was, and what he did was so brief. We only got a little taste of it, really.
But he was really important when he was here.
Incredibly important.
I do remember where I was and what I was doing when I heard he died.
What were you doing?
I was just on a layover as a flight attendant. My friend called me. She called me
Rook
specifically
D1.
to tell me that he
It
had
was
died.
shocking, obviously.
Yes. So it was one of those moments where you remember where you were when you heard he died.
I was home when the news broke, and I think it was watching
Night
MTV,
84.
and I think like Kurt Loder broke in.
Hi, I'm Kurt Loder with an MTV News special report on a very sad day. Kurt Cobain, the leader of one of rock's most gifted and promising bands, Nirvana, is dead, and this is the story.
Wait, what?
I remember seeing him last night in concert here. in
Excuse
New
me.
York, and she dedicated a song to him. So
I was
yeah,
sneezing
it
like
rocked
crazy today.
the music world.
It is
Those are
spring.
the 5 artists that overlapped.
That's so interesting. Who are they again? Prince,
Blondie,
Blondie,
Run DMC,
Run DMC, Nirvana.
Nirvana, 9 Inch Nails.
and Nine Inch Nails.
And Nine Inch
How
Nails.
interesting.
Well, there's another 2 different artists that have some overlap.
So I had to give up a
that I
pawn,
wanna
but
talk
it's obviously it's a doubled pawn. It's a doubled pawn here, so
about. Our
Rook
own version
A3.
of 120 minutes.
yeah, basically.
Just listen to that.
Night
is this?
captures
This
B2.
is bad by U2. U2.
In terms of rock, just kind of dominate the sound for for a decade.
A decade?
2 decades.
They just were, I feel like, my entire life.
Yay!
Relevant, and their music
Dude.
is timeless.
why'd he
And,
resign?
yeah, they started a
I mean,
little
he
more
has-
raw and punk.
you could go
rockish,
here, you could
and
go
they went through
here,
different phases, different
could
like dance
go-
stuff and different pop rock
yeah,
stuff. But
here.
my God, their body of work.
They've been around long enough.
Doesn't
for
have
the
to
backlash.
resign.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Part of that was
I'm
because of
threatening
the,
his
you
rook.
know,
Never
the
mind.
hype
I'm so blind, man.
Oh.
I can't even see
No, but that
what's
is
there.
actually kind of interesting.
All
because
right.
they were always
Hey, so I
trying
won a
to
couple.
not
Let's
be
look at
stale.
that one. Let's
They
analyze.
wanted to play around with
I'm doing
different
good. I'm up
genres,
above. I'm
play
at
around with the
1463.
technology and so forth.
I got to
And
get all the
sometimes
way
they
back
can-
up
they can
to.
think,
I got
oh,
500
we'll
more
just give
points to
away
go.
our music in the middle of an iPod and people will like it. Whereas people are thinking, why are you dropping this on my? I mean, this is inappropriate.
It might have helped if the album
Knight
they dropped
F6.
Freed
So-
Everybody was
Pawn
Joshua Tree.
E3.
You know what I'm saying?
This is
Pawn
whatever.
C4.
I don't care.
Pawn D5.
So they are
Bishop
like
G7.
somewhat of a transcendent
Knight
band, right?
F3.
They bridge like
Castles,
different
King
generations.
See, like here,
They
what does
cover
it
a
say?
lot of different
C5?
things. We're talking about Blind,
Yeah.
they kind of
C5.
fit into
C6.
different subgenres.
Bishop
C6 is
but
okay.
There's clearly a reason that they've existed for a really long time.
E6,
But one of the artists that
C5,
they
stuff
work
like that.
Often is
That's fine.
this
Pawn
person.
C6. Bishop D3.
But this is not okay.
Pawn captures D5.
What does it say here? Knight takes D5. Yeah, it's
Okay,
better.
so this is the obscure one. That is
Castles
a gentleman by the
Kingside.
name of Brian Eno.
Rook E8.
And
Okay.
Brian Eno started
B3.
out as
E5,
a member of
just
Roxy
go
Music
for it.
in the early 1970s with Brian Ferry and so
Yikes.
forth. And he was on their first 2 albums, and we were talking about technology.
Knight B6.
He was one of the early adopters of synthesizers and
B3.
so forth. He starts releasing his own music,
Pawn E5.
a lot of which is ambient, no vocal stuff.
Knight captures E5. Pawn captures E5. Knight D7.
But he's also got these pop albums that he also puts together. One, of course, is Another Green World.
What's wrong with just taking
the
this
song
guy?
you just heard
Knight
is
captures
called
D5.
King's Lead Hat off of Before
It's not
and After
good.
Science.
Oh, because
But
I
meanwhile,
mob him.
C5.
he starts looking around
Nice.
and said, who are people I want to work
Nice.
with? He finds David Bowie.
Queen B5.
How
So he
bad
starts
is it?
working with these 3
B6.
seminal albums of Bowie's in the mid-70s.
And that's that
Late
bad?
70s, he finds Talking Heads. And
On
more
B6.
songs about
Because
Bowie
of all
food,
this.
music,
Look at how
Remain in
tough
Light.
that is.
These
Okay, cool.
collaborations, he became
Interesting.
like a de facto
That's good to know.
member of Talking Heads, incredibly influential. Then mid-80s,
I think I can remember
he hooks
that.
up with
Let's-
U2,
let's play
Unforgettable
another one.
Fire, Joshua Tree, and so you see this incredible influence.
I think
that
this
he
will be the
has,
last one for this
over
episode.
almost a
Hopefully I
decade.
win. I'm
And
enjoying
that song, that
My
Brian Eno
ability
King's
to
Lead
play
Hat,
Pawn
if you
E5.
unscramble
Again.
the letters,
Knight
you get
F3.
Talking Heads.
I guess my
So
vision is coming
Brian
back.
Eno
It's
is
so
like
horrible,
Bishop
but
unsung
it's at
gods
least
out of
horrible.
behind the
Before it
scenes.
was worse than
and
horrible.
he's somebody who
It was.
helped
I
influence
literally
Trent
couldn't see
Reznor
2 inches in front of my face
Pawn
barely.
D3.
He's one of
I
those people.
can't believe I'm
Yeah,
even
Talked about
alive.
Run DMC
See-
and Aerosmith, but also connected to Trent Reznor.
All right,
Beasties as well, and,
this.
yes.
We talked about Manchester.
Knight E7.
Somebody recently said
Man,
that
they
this
keep
is
playing all the
most
music I grew up on.
influential band of all time.
New Order.
Billy
Man,
Corgan
the
said-
80s
I
were
did
so
mention
good.
New Order in
Man,
the list that I
I'll
sent
tell you when
because I
America
told you
was
I said
great.
no
Captures
punch.
E5.
America was great in the
I was like,
80s,
Jack, you don't
man.
understand.
Larry
There was
Bird,
so much
Magic
music back then. I
Johnson,
said, this is barely scratching the surface. I did not even know that was New Order.
Depeche Mode,
Banger
The Cure,
of 1983
Bishop
The Police.
was
Queen
Blue
A5
Monday,
check.
which I think somebody described it as this mashup of punk meets disco.
I know the New Order songs that everybody knows, but back
Knight
then I was
C3.
more Pet Shop Boys. You know, sometimes
Queen captures
Duran
E5.
Duran, The Cure.
We haven't
The
talked
Cure.
about Husker Du.
The
and,
Cure
you
was
know,
great.
Replacements. I mean, that's a whole, you know, that's a whole other podcast.
Here's a song.
I never got into
On
the
that
replacements, but
Queen H5.
Oh, thank you. I was wondering when she was going to show up.
Madonna.
One of the most influential artists of.
this is what it said to do in our last analysis.
1980s Mount
If they
Rushmore, right?
play that,
Prince,
then just
Michael
play over
Jackson,
here. But I'm
Springsteen, and
Knight
Madonna.
E2.
Is that kind of
nervous
fair?
about.
Put down in
Yeah,
terms of pop
so-
stars, especially
Okay,
like people
now
who had
what?
massive MTV appeal and radio appeal and superstar. Was there anyone like Madonna before Madonna?
The one I would say
Definitely
is
that.
On
kinda
D5.
close, and in a similar place was Donna Summer.
I
in
was
the
gonna say Donna Summer.
Donna Summer in the
She
70s.
did have a lot of smash hits, and she was working in a genre that was the biggest genre for a very short period of time, right?
Donna Summer's first big hit was
Pawn
"Love to Love
captures
You, Baby."
D5.
I'm good.
Pawn captures D5.
Now I'm looking real good.
People were saying that
We-
she's, you know,
Bishop
that-
captures
simulating
D5.
pleasuring herself for 17 minutes or so, which is quite a record. Ha,
She's-
see what I did there?
Knight captures
She's not
D5.
as famous as Madonna. Maybe it's
Yeah.
connected to the MTV thing, right? She didn't have the same sort of.
She was pre-MTV, but as you said, she was the queen. If they call Madonna the queen of pop, Donna Summer was
Castles
the queen
I
of
don't feel like she
disco.
lasted as long as Madonna did.
Yeah.
Oh no, she didn't.
And I feel like she was
Let's
more
go.
of a one-track kind of artist. She didn't go draw much outside the lines of what she did. I loved her back in the day.
Let's go
But
here.
Madonna
Bishop
is
D6.
in a league all of her own.
But Donna Summer also kind of suffered from the disco backlash in the late 70s. Madonna, very, very smartly, kept on reinventing herself.
Madonna, one of the biggest
On
MTV
C4.
artists, and her
Okay.
fashion was almost as big as her music back then. The way she
well,
presented herself, the way she dressed.
A precursor to people like Beyonce and Rihanna
Night
and Taylor
F6.
Swift.
None of them come close to Madonna. Not in talent
Now we're up a
or
piece.
artistically or musically, but as a phenomenon.
Part of why Madonna
A piece
is
for a pawn,
so
right from the
remarkable
get-go.
is
The little
that
trap
she
worked.
was able to
He took the bait.
establish
Now
herself,
we just have to play
beyond
solid.
just the
This is
music.
going really
And, you
well.
know,
We
she
got
had, like,
we got this pinned to a
movie career,
trade,
too.
which he
Another artist
once we
that
trade the
was,
queens, I got
really
it.
big on MTV, who I feel like isn't talked
I feel like
about
I
as
got
much
it
anymore,
anyway,
but had
but
a really high peak.
just keep it all. Oh
someone
my
who you
goodness.
mentioned.
Oh yeah, I couldn't have taken it. But I am threatening checkmate if I go here.
Peter Gabriel?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
If I
What
go
did you
here,
say about him?
threatening
I just
mate.
don't think he's as listened to today.
How interesting.
Like,
Queen
I don't think
E1.
he's that well known
Queen E1.
amongst young people today.
Wow, that surprises me that people might not know him today.
So tell me about your experience.
Better
with him.
castle.
Really, it's
Castle's
probably the
King's
album,
Side.
Lose my
Yeah.
queen.
And that was just massive.
Yeah.
Like,
John Cusack has something to do.
Oh, of course.
Has something to do with that as
remember,
well.
That's one of the things I said. It's not an artist, but the 80s movies. All the movies, The Breakfast Club, Say
We haven't
Anything.
talked about John Hughes. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Those were so influential
Night G3.
musically. And that is one of the reasons that he blew up. Peter Gabriel, probably because of that song in that movie.
He had 3 consecutive albums that he called Peter Gabriel, and so you have to like break him down by what's on the cover. The split face one, where he's like half of his face is melting. It has No Self Control. It has amazing song Biko on there, which is about apartheid. In
I'm a little
South
worried about that,
Africa,
but I could
and
take
one
and
of
then
the freedom
move.
fighters
But
there
if
who
he
died
goes
in prison.
there, I go there, but then he goes there.
He was also
Gotta check.
experimenting with some, sort of African rhythms and things like that well before Paul Simon or anybody like that.
his quote is, "I felt I wanted to write music for the 1980s, and that the place to begin was the rhythm track. Rhythm being the spine of the music. If you change the spine, the shape of the body changes as a matter of course."
He, like Talking Heads and a number of other hip hop artists as well, influenced by this African musician named Fela. Read up on him, folks. That's all I can say. Read up on him.
One more song.
One more song.
There's one artist I'm like surprised has not come up yet. So let's see if this is that artist.
This is a little bit later. What do we got?
Alanis Morissette.
When does this song come out?
95?
So we started in 1970.
Queen
I got this
H4.
bishop right here.
Maybe
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Blondie,
70,
and
yeah.
now we're in 1995. Why Alanis Morissette?
One of the biggest female artists.
I also have a check
of
here.
The 90s.
Jagged Little Pill. It was everywhere. The 1990s, in some cases, pioneered
I have
the
this,
idea
but
of,
first I
of
should
like a
move my
one-album
bish.
wonder, not as
Where
opposed
should
to
I put my
one-hit
bish? Should I
wonder.
put my
She
bish
had
here?
albums after it,
Should I
but
put it
they
there?
never really hit the zeitgeist quite the way.
I
quite
kind
the
of
way
like
that did.
He was
here.
just really important back then.
I
There
like
were so
D7.
many male bands, so many grunge
These two
bands,
bishops will take
and
away this whole invading thing.
out of the
Support
hair metal
rooks
or the
coming
hair
out of
bands
here.
and even classic rock. But she was just a very prominent voice back then, and I just remember being so stoked that a female was putting out
We
music
got a
like
good
this,
situation
'cause
here.
We hadn't really heard that up to then in that specific genre.
What do you mean like this?
The grunge,
like kind of,
alternative.
yeah, like an alternative
This night
rock,
is
like,
Alanis
keeping that
Morissette
out of there. I'll just
had-
take.
Definitely had a different vibe.
And then I can
think
check.
You
I
mentioned,
can
mentioned Liz Phair.
do
She's
all
sort of
kinds
in
of
that
good stuff
category.
there.
PJ Harvey
Definitely.
is, as well. There's somebody else I'm thinking of who's. Well, oh wait. How could we? I think there's somebody we're forgetting.
Give me a hint.
Kurt Cobain.
Oh, Courtney
On
Love.
H-
Okay, he goes there. I could shack and then
No,
get
look,
there.
I mean, no, everybody has their.
asterisk.
I could always
Everybody's got
sack.
issues with Courtney, and I'm sure Billy Corgan has issues with Courtney, but she was there. She was part of it.
Alanis Morissette was a real fresh voice, and she charged.
Let's just
onto
sack
the
it.
scene.
Bishop captures
the
H3.
artist that we missed.
Pawn
That you
captures
said, oh, I'm
H3.
surprised you haven't played this person yet. Are you talking about George Michael?
I am. How did you know that?
I just had a feeling.
Because he's Jack.
We're
Because he's Jack. He's Jack.
Queen captures
we were
H3.
talking about the Mount Rushmore and the sub Mount Rushmore and Peter
Yeah.
Gabriel. He's probably
That's
Now we
in that
got
mix,
all
too.
sorts of invasion points.
Madonna,
We have this
Michael
with the
Jackson,
rooks.
Springsteen. I think they are
We have
pretty
this with the
solid in
knight.
that top layer.
Queen
But,
F2.
Queen
George
F2.
Michael
Oh, sweet.
is very, very high
So
up
he goes
there.
here, and I
Going
go
from
check,
the
and
very
he's
pop
so
youth
screwed.
style of Wham.
Knight G4. Queen G2. Bishop C5 check.
To interesting,
Look at that.
evocative dance music.
Pow, pow, pow.
Introspective music. And
Get it all back.
So you go
Plus
basically
interest.
From Wake Me Up Before You Go all the way to.
I feel like I'm playing pretty good chess
He
for
collaborates with
being
Elton John, he
virtually
collaborates with
blind.
Aretha Franklin.
I mean, he had the pop
All
stuff
right,
with
let's go.
Wham
Look at that.
and the
That was a
bubblegum,
massacre.
But then he had Freedom.
I think that was a good sacrifice there at the end, considering we're already up a piece. So,
generational banger.
so we'd be, you know,
Freedom 90s
Right.
was the banger because
we're a piece for a
That's what I
pawn,
mean.
so
Yeah.
we give the
Not the
piece
Wham
back, but we
song,
get
but
two
the
more
George
pawns.
Michael
So
song
materially we're
was
equal,
one
but
of-
usually
you know,
trading a
Madonna,
piece for
like,
3
a pair- not
pawns and
necessarily
a
my
king
favorite
side
Madonna
attack
song, but
is
the most
worth it.
iconic, right? And,
You know,
and George Michael
most
Freedom.
most
But then
situations
to
that I can think of, a
carry
piece for
on
3
and then
pawns.
do an album like Listen Without Prejudice.
and a
I
king
just
side
feel
attack
like
is
he's
decisive.
One of the most important artists of our generation.
So if
Heck,
we
even
zoom
a
back
piece for
out,
2
what we're
pawns and a
talking
king
about
side
is
of attack
Gen X,
is usually decisive.
best
So
music generation. I think what we're
piece for
getting
3
at
pawns
is
and
there's a
positional
huge amount of
advantage is good,
diversity,
or even tactical
on the charts
advantage.
in popular music.
Knight
So-
F3.
There's so many different
Knight
types of
C6.
genres
So
that are
these guys aren't good
Knight
enough to know
F6.
this trick yet.
mainstream and
Pawn
crossing
D3.
over. And
You
then
don't
you
wanna do
have the
that.
convergence of MTV.
Knight
and
captures
Pretty much
E5.
losing.
becoming
It's
more
losing.
Pawn
widespread and
C6.
accessible and
Bishop
diverse all
C4.
at the same time, and then it's
Queen
convergent.
A5 check.
And I think
Queen
that's what makes
captures
this time
E5.
period particularly
Fair
special
enough.
Pawn
and
F4.
different. Maybe what you said before,
Queen
that
H5.
60s and 70s period
Knight
might have had
E2.
some better
Pawn
songs across
D5.
the board, but they weren't as
Pawn captures D5.
different from one another.
And
Pawn
also,
captures
like I said
D5.
in my message
Bishop
to you, this
captures
is barely
D5.
scratching the surface. There's so
Knight
much about the
captures D5.
generation and the time period that
Castles
we haven't even talked
kingside.
about. Tupac and Biggie,
Bishop D6.
or Salt and Pepper.
Pawn
Exactly.
C4.
We touched
Knight
a little
F6.
bit about
Queen
about
E1.
reggae when
Castles
we talked
kingside.
about
There's nothing too
Blondie.
bad.
But,
Knight
another
G3.
artist who
Queen
Nothing
H4.
wrong with that.
for his time
Pawn
and
H3.
should be at least mentioned
Bishop
in this
captures
context was
H3.
Bob Marley. His
Pawn
compilation
captures
Legend
H3.
was
This
one of
game
the biggest
over.
selling of all
H3.
time, and quite
Queen
rightly
F2.
so. Oh, and
Knight
somebody
G4.
else we didn't talk about.
Rook F2,
Public
yeah.
Enemy
So
NWA.
So you get
Bishop
something
C5
like
check.
this, you
Public
get
Enemy
that, you get
is
that,
to the
Bishop
Clash
captures F2 check.
what
and
NWA
F1.
is to the Sex
Oh.
Pistols in terms of
Queen captures
Brutal.
G3.
in terms of influential and the types of styles and
Bishop
attitudes
captures
that
G3.
they took trying to upend the status quo. Public Enemy in
King
particular
G2. Bishop
is
F2.
political but experimental
G2.
with their beats and so forth.
Bishop H4.
NWA
Okay, so pretty much everything's
a little bit
good.
more nihilistic, similar to the Sex Pistols.
This is strong because
F2.
something like this, you just say play that.
Pawn
Those
F5.
particular acts, they was just so combustible in terms
good
of what
stuff.
they were trying to do that they couldn't really, stick around for too long.
There were just so many. Ice Cube, Ice-T, Queen Latifah, Missy Elliott. I mean, there was just you go
How are we
on
doing
and
on
all,
how
in all
much-
these grunge or hip hop or
Yeah, this is
R&B
about over.
or pop or new wave or disco. I was gonna when you were
And
talking
so
about
I
reggae,
think
I
this is a
wanted
good
just
place
give a
to
little
stop.
shout-out to 311.
Can't play too
which
much better
I
than
don't
that.
think
We won a
gets enough
bunch.
love. I was
Up
mad
to
in love with 311 back
1470.
in the day, and I still am
So
today. I
after
go- I
about
go
a
see them
week
every
of chess,
chance I
we're
get,
up
and they're
about
still as hot
67
as they were
points
back
as
then.
of now.
question.
That's pretty good.
It seemed when I was
Because I had
watching
some
your
spots
episode,
where
it
I
seemed
was
like
kind of waffling a
You've
bit.
gone to a few concerts in your life,
Not-
right?
not playing great.
You're like the real I'm just want to hear some of you.
And sometimes I
too.
just
I mean,
can't see
nowadays
where
it's
my
so
guys are.
expensive, You can't go to as many as you'd like to.
Like, I'll
I
be
was gonna
looking
ask
right
you,
at
I
it,
forgot
and
to ask
the
you, have you been
rook's
to
hanging, and
Sphere?
I don't even see the rook.
Oh,
So
Have you
I don't even
been?
see my own
Yes.
rook
Who did you
after I
see?
put
I
it
saw
there.
you
So I have
too.
to remember kind
I
of.
saw it twice.
in my
I
head.
had to go
Oh, wow.
back.
Amazing.
Oh my
But
God,
I can
wish
get
you could've
close
seen you
and,
two
like,
there.
see
It was
different
one
parts
of
of
the
the board.
extraordinary musical experiences
And,
of my life. The sound,
it's
visuals,
you
the
know,
band, the energy
it's
of the
better.
crowd. I
So
always go
it's
in
fun.
pretty
It
cynical.
makes it a little more challenging.
Not
Plus, you should be
necessarily
able to play
That's a Gen X
chess
trait.
in your head.
expecting
are
Like
one
you
of the
shouldn't
great
really
live
need the board
bands
too
on
much.
which-
Like
I've
I
seen
learned
them
my
16 times.
diagonals
I've seen
and
them more
like
than any
Yeah,
what
just-
color they
were the
are and
perfect
stuff like
band to
that.
open
Like
venue, but just
you know, like
the sphere itself.
like you make little flashcards for yourself that say like
could have had. Like, how is this going to
like
be
say
different? How is this gonna be
you
such
make a
great
flashcard for
show?
every
And
square. So this square.
you're just
And you go, okay,
floored.
D3.
Two
That's
of
on
best
the
nights of my life were the two.
you know,
U2
you have to go,
shows I
okay,
saw at
that's
the Sphere.
D3, that's on the B1
Thanks, Jack. It's great.
H7 diagonal.
The Trackstar Podcast is a presentation
And
of public
the
opinion created by
F1
me, Jack Coyne, Kieran Coyne, and Henry Cornaros.
A6 diagonal,
Written
and
produced
it's
by Noah
white.
John, edited
Those
and
are
produced by
light-
Haley Sobel,
light square
additional
diagonals.
editing by Ryan
So
Durgans.
you
Theme
can
and
give yourself
original
flashcards
composition
for
by Kieran
every
Coyne,
square in the
mixing by
whole
Devin
position.
Kline. Our agent is Joanna Orland at
So
UTA.
that's a good thing to
Thanks for
do.
listening.
Learn your
See you
diagonals,
next
and then you'll
Wednesday.
start to be able to visualize the board in your head much better. So that's it for Blind Chess for today, and everybody have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.